Well, welcome to the show. Well, this week we've got both ends of the market represented here, Tony.
That's right, Ted, and you get the cheapie.
In its own way, the Elantra is as interesting to me as the 850i, though.
Well, sure, I know you're going to contest the 850 on the basis that it's very, very expensive, but the 850 is a rolling example of the very best that BMW has to offer, and that's a lot of technology. On the surface, this car fills a gap left when production of the old 635 CSI coupe ceased. But BMW says its new sports flagship is in a class of its own and doesn't replace the old 6 Series. I have to agree. The 850i has to be one of the most advanced sports coupes ever produced. It's a stunning looking machine from any angle, though styling has to be described as restrained rather than radical. Most significant recognition feature is BMW's famous kidney grille nose job, this time with slim driving lights on either side and pop-up main headlights also of slim profile. Each headlight pod has a pair of high-pressure washers, which pop up neatly when the appropriate stalk is pressed. Aerodynamic performance is outstanding, and wind noise is uncannily low, even at very high speeds. To help window sealing, side windows open slightly when a door is opened. Close the door and the window slides automatically into its rubber seal. Very neat and highly efficient. BMW went all the way with a power plant for this car, installing its superb 5-litre V12 with 300 silky smooth horsepower on tap. With no fuss at all, the 850i will accelerate to 100 kilometers per hour in around 7.5 seconds. The car costs a hefty $109,000 or so, and fuel economy is not great at an all-around 16 litres per 100 kilometres in manual form. BMW's basic warranty right now is 4 years or 80,000 kilometres. A specially developed 6-speed gearbox was fitted to our test car, and this works like a charm. On high-speed Autobahn runs in Germany, I found myself shifting between 5th and 6th according to traffic. Only on very slow sections of the road was it necessary to use 4th. Huge ventilated disc brakes with an anti-lock system are featured, and it's amazing how effectively they bring everything under control in emergency situations. Add to this a traction control system, and it's very hard to get into trouble with this car. Suspension is all you'd expect in a car of this class. I could find little fault with handling. To me, it seemed stable and responsive under all conditions under which I drove the car. One minor gripe is that I found it a little on the large side and not as easy to position in traffic as the old 635. One way size helps is that driver and front seat passenger enjoy great comfort, but rear seats are almost token additions. This is really of little importance in a market where the owner is just as likely to have a Range Rover or a bigger BMW at his or her disposal. Plus features include a trunk that is larger than most you'll find in this market. Among passenger comfort items is a filtering unit in the climate control system, which actually senses fumes and automatically compensates. Drive up behind a smelly diesel truck and the system switches to recirculated filtered air. Instrumentation is up to BMW's usual high standard, and space is saved on the main panel by overlapping speedo and tachometer dials. Nifty features that go almost unnoticed include this clever change holder which flips out of the driver's door. In addition to power seats with memory system, there's a power control to tilt or telescope the 850's steering wheel. The lower half of an unusual 2-tier glove box includes a rechargeable flashlight and a pair of drinks holders. Also included is BMW's handy multifunction computer system. It'd take many shows to describe this car, which BMW regards as a rolling example of its finest technology. Many of these technical advancements will undoubtedly find their way into less expensive BMWs before too long. Buyers in this class have some tempting alternatives, including the expensive Mercedes 500 SL and the more reasonable V12 Jaguar XJS. Lots of cash can be saved by opting for one of the new crop of Japanese super coupes, like the Lexus SC400 or the Acura Legend Coupe. Also no slouch in the coupe stakes is Subaru's new SVX. I want to give this a driving dollar value of 3/4 of a tank, Ted. It's all about the price, believe me.
Okay, well, all I got to say about this thing is, what a car. This is unbelievable. I think it's overpriced. I know I'm a broken record about that, but this is a lot of money for this car. Just for the sake of argument, I can point out that you can get a Corvette that'll run all day with this thing for a fraction of the money. So it's way overpriced. But aside from that, this is an unbelievable automobile.
Well, much as I like vets, I mean, this car has more sophistication than any vet ever had in
Which is not necessarily a good thing.
Not necessarily, but this is car, BMW themselves say this car is designed for long-distance touring and so forth, at very high speeds. We've driven them at very high speeds, 150 mile an hour on the Autobahn, and the car is so stable. It's a wonderful piece of engineering. It may be more engineering than the market wants, because I believe they're not selling that well.
Yeah, well, let me be devil's advocate here. Where in North America are you going to drive a car like this at this speed for this length of time? Nowhere, unless you like getting tickets, because the cops are going to stop you for sure when they see it.
Well, that's true. That's true enough. But I mean, you do have that with the wonderful refinement and the flexibility of that V12 engine. I mean, you can drive it around the traffic and it's a joy and so forth, and it is just as much fun. You don't have to drive it at tremendous speeds.
Also, I got to point out, with all their technology and their grasp of making an automobile, what happened to those back seats? Those back seats are a joke. Even a child can't sit in those seats. I tried it just for the heck of it.
Oh,
I couldn't believe it.
I think it's just a marketing thing. They have to call it a 2+2 for that kind of market. That's what everybody else has.
Why not make a shelf?
And I still think it's a little large. I mean, you know, it's a Mercedes 500 SL, which is a competitor, and is even more expensive. I mean, it doesn't have any seats in the back, at least not in our versions. But I think that it's something they have to throw in, you know, for the... And maybe there are people around who are not, you know, too tall, and they can get a little bit of room, and a couple of little kids in the back and so forth.
I think they should throw them out. Also, I want to point out who is going to service this thing. I mean, you can't even begin.
Tricky, yeah. Not the guy at the local gas station. Okay, let's sum up here. We didn't like about the car. Well, of course, it's very expensive. Probably worth the money, but very expensive nonetheless. And I thought it was a little too large. The plus side, lots of things. Wonderful engine, wonderful engineering, very roomy in the front seats at least, and exceptionally fast. Driving dollar value, 3/4 of a tank. But as I said before, it's all price.
Don't get me wrong, I love this car, and we'll be right back.